Hi, my name is Caleb Head, and I'm here to talk to you today about what really happened at Roswell, New Mexico. So, just mentioning Roswell, I'm sure the first thing that comes to everybody's mind is aliens. Uh, why is this? Why can't we attribute anything else to Roswell? Well, there was an incident that happened in Roswell back in July of 1947 and has been misreported on and conspired over for decades now. It is one of the most well-known conspiracy theories in the world. It's a conspiracy theory on a global level. People travel from many other states and countries to visit Roswell to see them aliens. Beginning with the Air Force Base, in which all of these secrets are supposedly been covered up. It was originally named the Walker Air Force Base. It was bought by a rancher. The property was bought from a rancher back in 1941. It was intended to use for a flight school and a bombardier school due to its dry weather, good weather, low wind factor, perfect for flying most of the year. It was also close enough to Mata Borda Island where they could actually test real bombs. Being that this was World War II era, the atomic bomb was being designed and other measures were being tested. And this was one of the places that they did it. They also tested many things like parachutes that were in prototype form, so they'd strap dummies to them, throw them out of airplanes. Sonic booms were a daily occurrence. The Bombardier School were dropping sandbags and flour bags out of their planes onto targets near the runways all the time. So these strange sights were a very common occurrence to the locals there in Roswell. So it was kind of primed for some conspiracy in those ways. You know, like we see people falling from the sky all the time with these parachutes that don't seem to be working, and it leads you to believe some strange things. But getting to the incident, as it is referred to in most text, July of 1947, the morning after a severe thunderstorm, another rancher, this base was surrounded by farms and agriculture, but a rancher discovered some debris on his land. This debris consisted of tinfoil, wooden sticks, some metal parts, and rubber. Chunks of rubber. So very wide array of materials that are commonly found here on Earth, scattered about his ranch in about a quarter of a mile spread. So his initial response was to call the sheriff. Sheriff called the base. The base sent one of their officers over immediately. Unfortunately, a report had just come out weeks prior to this incident about a pilot up in Washington State who described seeing some aircraft that looked like they were skimming across water like saucers. And that's when the term saucer was coined. So the public were primed for these unexplained flying aircraft, and now we have some debris, and the news kind of ran wild with it. Not to mention the officer that was first on site kind of let his opinion get in the way, his personal opinion get in the way, and stated it looked as though it was a crashed saucer, like a UFO, which kind of threw everybody into a bit of a tizzy with this UFO paranoia. The Air Force chalked it up to being just a weather balloon that had crashed. And many years later, around 1980, a former nuclear physicist, started doing a bunch of digging on his own accord and discovered that what the Air Force had actually said was a weather balloon was actually related to a very secretive project called Project Mogul, where they were putting microphones on weather balloons or high altitude balloons and flying them over the Soviet Union looking or listening for atomic bomb tests. This was during the Cold War, so these were tests that were very secretive. We didn't want anybody to know that we had microphones flying around over our enemy's territory. So, of course, the government wanted to say it's just a weather balloon that crashed, and that's what the debris was from. Being that it had laid dormant for so many decades, it getting turned back up, and then the Air Force admitting, yes, it was Project Mogul, that was a secret, only made people more skeptical. And it just turned into a bigger fiasco as far as what really happened. And that question has just been going on and on ever since. And it's unfortunate because, number one, we'll never really know. Number two, the facts point to an obvious answer, which was that it was a secretive mission that crash landed. It was of, human materials. I can't imagine a UFO coming from outer space with a vessel made from wood or rubber or tinfoil. And the people just want to believe what they want to believe most of the time. So in regards to what really happened in Roswell, I mean, some might argue that there really was aliens and they really did cover it up, but if you just do even a little bit of research, it becomes pretty apparent pretty quick that it was much less than that. But now there is a local economy built on all these things. They have a festival once a year in Roswell. It's the best day of the year for all of the local businesses. People really buy into this UFO controversy. We just had a bit of a phenomenon on Facebook with the Storm Area 51, which that's not even technically Roswell. That's a different base in a different place, but this larger controversy of UFOs claims that what they found in Roswell, they took to Area 51 where they do all the research, but they had 1 million plus people signed up for storming the gates and finding them aliens, but that didn't happen either. So in conclusion, what really happened in Roswell? Some government stuff that didn't get covered up so well, and the news got hold of it, people's imaginations got hold of it, and we're still talking about it today, 2020, and Roswell's still known for aliens, and we still have zero evidence of that. So yeah, that's what happened.